We are live.
Hello and welcome to Pamphlet Global, and we are on Flashpoint with Raja Munib. Now we are going to discuss about something which has caught the imagination of social media, which is the Cockroach Janata Party. And today we have seen protests happening in Delhi where the crowds were very mediocre. The press was in huge numbers, but the crowd was not in that big numbers. What the organizers of the protest basically were expecting the crowds to be. So we're going to dwell deeper into it, and for that I have three guests with me today. I have Abhijeet Iyer Mitra, who is basically half brother of Abhijeet Dipke. I have editor in chief of
Can you please not
Pamphlet
miss me?
Global.
Can you please not dead name me? You have to use my correct name, okay?
Okay, that's
Because
and
understand,
that would be
dead naming somebody is like honking Akshay's boobs.
so. Okay, so I will be giving Abhijeet full time to basically go and introduce himself.
You're again
Uh,
dead naming me. Please
I'm
use
not
my
getting
name.
into
It's
you.
done for you.
Okay, cockroach. Zindabad, BJP, Murdabad, what have you written? Half brother of Abhijeet Dipke. That's what I said, basically, yes. And then we have Nirwa Mehta from Pamphlet, who is the editor in chief, and Tehseen Poonawala will be joining us in about 2 minutes. And Tehseen is here as well. Hello, Tehseen, welcome
Cockroach
to
Zindabad.
the stage. Okay, so it seems like we have a
Cockroach
lot of
Zindabad.
millennials who want to, basically go ahead and support the cockroach. But Abhijit, I'll start with you. Uh, Tell me, we have seen this kind of format being replicated and being successful in Nepal and Bangladesh, right? We have seen attempts being made to replicate the same kind of thing in India. They might not have been getting traction. Do you think it's part of the same, plan of changing the governments in uh, Indian subcontinent when it comes to, South Asia? How do you see the corporate Janata Party basically?
Look, the the first thing is you realize how clueless most foreign diplomats in India are, because all of them are sitting at the Italian Cultural Center. Now, Tehseen will tell you because we both go there every time he's in town, and it's usually the same crowd out there talking to the exact same people. We see them every single time we're there. It's the same people talking to a new political secretary, a new first secretary, a new ambassador, or something like that. Okay, the problem is foreign diplomats in India and NGOs as well uh, assume that understanding the Western idiom and understanding the English idiom specifically equals great perspicacity and insight into India, which it does not. And they only want to talk to people where they're comfortable talking to, and they very frequently take confirmation of their pre existing beliefs as perspicacity and deep insight. This is number one. And this is why NGOs get their calculus so wrong and embassies also get their assessments so wrong. Number two, Nepal and Bangladesh are fairly homogeneous countries. In Nepal, you have the split between the Madesis and the Pahadis, the plains dwellers and the mountain dwellers and things. But other than that, it's a fairly small, reasonably homogenized country without much variation. Bangladesh is almost entirely homogeneous, except the Chakma tribals in the hills. It's entirely homogeneous. In India, I want you to go see the news in Bombay, in Bangalore, in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, in Odisha, in West Bengal. Kolkata, nobody gave a damn. They're more interested in TMC people being beaten up. Mumbai, nobody gave a damn about what was happening out here. None of the local papers carried it. Nobody outside the Delhi media, and this is where that genius of a man, the Honorable Shri Lalu Prasad Yadav ji said about 20, 30 years back. There is an India which lives in Delhi, and there is a Bharat which lives outside Delhi. And we tend to assume 1,000 people gathering. कल तो बोल रहे थे कि इतने सारे लोग आएंगे. So many people are going to come. Today, have you seen all the narrative shifting? Ravish, Kejriwal, Sanjay Hegde, they've all now shifted to say, see, the point is we made a point. Right? So you've seen the goalpost shifting happening already. So are they trying? Yes. Are they going to succeed? By honesty, if you think you're going to succeed, is there anger? Yes. But people, parents especially, who are very concerned about their children, think about it this way: Gen Z came to the protest. Why didn't Gen Z's parents come to the protest?
Because the issue is with the Gen
The
Zs.
Gen Z know, maybe a bit angry and clueless, but Gen Z's parents are interested in their kids' future. They have experience. They not get carried away. They are not going to get platformed by some party for the party's own ends. They are going to direct their anger when and where it matters.
Okay. Tehseen, do you think this is old wine in new bottle? Because if you look at the support these guys have got right from the Constitution Club, it was an RJD MP who basically got them the permission. So there are political linkages which are being drawn, and the kind of support we have seen from Arvind Kejriwal tweeting today in the evening, talking about supporting these people. Do you think it's just a repackaging of the old wine in the new bottle with new faces? Or do you think that it's something which is far more, expanded than just the regional parties when it comes to India?
So it's a nuanced point of view, but let me start off with a story where Abhijeet left. And Abhijeet, you're looking like a life coach. Honestly, you're looking like a life coach right now. But where Abhijeet left on what Laluji said. So this is true. This is about 2000.
Sorry, can you please stop dead naming me? My name is Cockroach Zindabad, BJP Murdabad.
Cockroach Zindabad, BJP Murdabad, Abhijeet Zindabad.
I don't know who. Dipke. Yeah.
Your half brother is Abhijeet.
Abhijeet Dipke Zindabad, Abhijeet tum aage badho, hum tumhare saath hai. But what happened was, so this is 2011, the beginning. And I was going, this is February, and I remember it was winter, and I was crossing the Prime Minister's house, and opposite the media, I used to stand at that time. So there's Pallavi Ghosh, Kartikeya Sharma, all these people in the media, they were standing outside. So, I was in my car, I stopped the car, and I asked them, why are you standing in the cold outside? What's happened suddenly, PM? How's February evening? And they said, oh, good, you're here. Those days, I should not do so much media. They said, there's a Mahan person who's come from Pune, and he's meeting the PM. So I said, Pune se Mahan person kaun mil raha hai PM ko? Aur mujhe nahi pata. Then they said, Anna Hazare ji is meeting the PM. And I swear, I'm not making this shit up. I can say shit, na?
Fuck it. Of course.
Fuck it.
We have freedom of press.
So I was like, Anna Hazare. And I was like, ye kab se mahan ho gaya? Isko Pune mein corporators nahi milte, isko PM mil rahe. And I swear, the way the Congress botched it up, they made Anna Hazare like some Mahatma Gandhi 2.0. And then all these frauds came out. Kejriwal ji, Kumar Vishwas ji, and all these frauds came out, including VK. All the frauds came out. VK Singh came out later, served the army and all. Thank you for your services, but all full fraud. Kiran Bedi, all of them, the full movement, and that is how it was. And this whole sort of movement started. So to that extent, I mean, good that the government didn't react with them. And Delhi media sorts to orgasm on stupid things, which it shouldn't be. There are much serious issues in India. Having said that, the nuanced point is, look, it is shameless that Dharmendra Pradhanji hasn't gone. I think it is terrible. I think the Prime Minister needs to kick him out. And I don't mean it as a phrase. I mean it like honestly, hold him and kick him out. He has destroyed the Prime Minister's reputation. For whatever opposition I have to the Prime Minister, he does stand up for a certain standard of governance. Dharmendra Pradhan is below the lowest threshold of governance. You can't be that clueless that continuously have paper leaks. You can't be that arrogant about it. You can't have the NTA chief the previous time now becoming chief secretary, principal secretary Chhattisgarh. The Prime Minister needs to crack the whip. The anger, Abhijeet is right, isn't so far against the Prime Minister. But it is building up that why is the government not acting? The problem is that millions of kids, their lives are being ruined. And you're being nonchalant about it. You don't care a damn about it. And the Prime Minister has to act. If you don't, and kids now start feeling, look, this is a government that doesn't care, they will start coming onto the road because it is pissing people off. It is a matter of conversation. They are pissed off about it. They don't like it. It's already a country which is fucked up. You don't have a chance to go ahead because merit isn't your only criteria to go ahead. It's who you're born to that already determines. And within the narrow scope of going ahead, you have reservations, you have all these other things. And then you have these paper leaks. It completely screws you up. So there is a very strong disconnect, even amongst discontent, even with parents. It's a matter of time it spills onto the road.
But Abhijeet, coming back to this Chalta Hai attitude, which, this paper leak issue is something which we have been seeing happening in, successive governments. Even Congress was something during this era, a lot of paper leaks used to happen. Where is it that we are not able to find a transparent way to conduct examinations when it comes for the future of youth? Because on one side, the Prime Minister does say that, Viksit Bharat and talks about Viksit Bharat, talks about youth participation. On the other, we have these niggling issues which are still continuing for decades now. Why do you think these issues are cropping up in every successive government, and why is it that the government is not really cracking the whip and streamlining this issue?
Look, I think Modi, his political instinct is that he is not going to get rid of a minister when they're under attack. So the conspiracy theory doing the rounds today was that Dharmendra Pradhan had funded the CJP to do this protest so that he would not get sacked. And you notice this, every time a minister comes under pressure, they may be let go a good 3, 4, 5 months, sometimes even a year after the issue became big. And with Dharmendra Pradhan, it has been an accumulation of issue. Every month he gets into some new tangle or the other. Now, is there a standard required? I know for a fact there is a ministerial assessment going on at the moment where ministers are asked, they're brought in for half a day into the PMO and they're grilled thoroughly. And that is usually an exercise that precedes a reshuffle. So the reshuffle was expected in June, maximum July. Was Dharmendra Pradhan scheduled for sacking? We don't know. Because basically nobody other than Modi knows this PMO is extremely good at information control. Should he go? Yes. Is he not interested in his ministry? Yes. Is he a very good ground organizer? Yes. Does he do a lot of groundwork in election campaigns and things like that? Yes. Does that mean he's a good minister? No. Okay. But what has happened is the way politicians have taken, now see, it is the job of a politician to take every issue and turn it into an advantage for them. The problem is the first set of people, that Sarthak or whatever, it is also their job to protect their narrative and not let it get hijacked by a political party. So when they went and met Rahul Gandhi, that was a delegitimization that happened right there. And see, now nobody is talking about the NEET exam anymore. Everybody's talking about the CJP. And what did we see out there? Humko Azadi. There were Azadi slogans raised. There were slogans about everything raised. One guy didn't even know who apparently the education minister is called Amit Pradhan. Okay. I think you guys, your reporter, who was the gentleman with the Mundan?
Prashant, yeah.
Prashant, I think he did a fantastic job exposing all these frauds today. So, full congratulations to the pamphlet. Bhai, kya hai ye? And see, the parents aren't getting fooled by anyone. So, is there a need for accountability? Yes. Is it going to come with a full-on attack on the government? No. I think the only time we've seen the government actually reel under attack was when there was a full-blown general category revolt a few months back against the new UGC guidelines. And that again was something done by Dharmendra Pradhan.
Right? Okay, Tehseen, before I come to you, I quickly want to ask Nirwa something because, it was about the journalists who did a good job. But today, what we saw on the ground was, Nirwa, that a lot of journalists were heckled. A woman journalist was shown a middle finger as well. And a lot of them were called Godi media as well. So when, the same youth which talks about a government being fascist, a voice not being reaching out, the media being, media trying to blacklist them, then they have the same kind of attitude when people want to cover them. How do you see the entire political discourse built around this protest and the mindset of the leaders or the participants of this particular protest when it comes to media handling and when it basically really comes to, dealing with the media on the ground?
Uh, so firstly, I'll correct that it was Prabhat on ground and not Prashant.
Sorry, yeah,
But
Prabhat. I'm sorry, my mistake. I'm sorry. I was
I was
Prabhat.
like,
uh,
I goof up the names. I'm sorry.
secondly, I
Yeah,
think, see,
Prabhat.
this dehumanization of media has been going on
Nirva, are
since
you
a
there?
couple of years. I am. You can't hear me?
I can
I
hear
think
her.
we lost.
Hear
Yeah,
her.
I think we lost. Nirva, are you there?
I can hear her.
yeah, we can hear her.
And
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
let me
It was
moderate
mine.
this because I can hear you. Nirva bolo. Huh.
Hanji. So I think this dehumanization of media has been going on for a couple of years now. एक तो ये problem काफी time से है. Uh, I think it started around the time when the Godi media, as Ravish Kumar, he takes great pride in giving this, coining this term. जब से anyone who disagrees or anyone who says something that is probably not against the government is suddenly Godi media. It doesn't necessarily have to be pro Modi. I don't know. I think firstly it's a wrong concept that media is independent. There's no such thing as independent media. Let's be very honest about it. Everyone has their bias. Editorial team has a bias. The editorial bias trickles down to the rest of the reporters. Coming back, this dehumanization of Godi media has been going on for a while, to the extent that any time Godi media journalist is heckled or attacked, it is celebrated. This we have seen during anti-CAA protests also, where I'm pretty sure Republic journalists were heckled and other journalists have been heckled. They're just doing their job. Okay, they're not even being political in their questions. All they are doing is being present, reporting the what is happening on the ground, and they're being heckled. So this has trickled down. Now it has been so normalized that Godi media as an abuse, Godi media as you deserve to be abused and attacked because you are Godi media is normalized. I think this and these are the ones who talk about how this hate speech leads to is the first step of fascism, and how this happened during World War II, how Hitler did that. Okay, what are you doing? Today anything you the left journalists, they keep on uh, crying how they are victim and how they are being attacked all the time. So are we. I go through my mentions, look at the amount of random body shaming happens, random attacks happen, random name calling happens, just because I don't agree with their worldview. But this is normalized. This is absolutely normalized.
Absolutely. And Nirva, that is totally true. And can I add to what you're saying? They could have used a lot of terms. They could have said paltu media. For example, the right wing uses papu for all of Rahul Gandhi's followers. Okay. Uh, but they didn't use dog terms. They deliberately used a sexual term which translates to lap dancer essentially. Right. And the thing is, if they are so fond, I think every female journalist who calls somebody on the right of the spectrum a Godi media should, prove that it is not sexual by sitting on the lap of some right winger and showing that it's not sexual at all. But they won't
Right.
do that, of course, because they know it is a sexual slur. It is very clearly a sexual slur with its own connotation. What are you doing when you're sitting on somebody's lap? It's definitely not a platonic gesture, right? So it is what it is. But yeah, back to you now, Raja.
Thank you. Tehseen, I want to ask you one thing. Tell me something. When this whole episode happened, where the Chief Justice of India called the youth, cockroach, and suddenly we saw this springing of social media with Cockroach Janata Party, there is a lot of anger against the government. But the point is, it doesn't really reflect very well on the opposition parties of India. If so much of youth, let's say per se, are really following in millions, I would say a satirical party, what does that say about the real state of the real opposition, which is on the ground and which is opposing BJP electorally? Because how does it reflect onto their performance and onto what's the dimension there as?
In any country, you don't just elect a government, you also elect an opposition. And I honestly believe that despite being a supporter of the opposition, the government is so lucky to have this current whole bunch of opposition. Because imagine in Madhya Pradesh, in Indore, the cleanest city in India, Indians died in 2025 drinking contaminated water, and the minister Kailash Gehlothi said "Ghanta," and you couldn't get him to resign. Forget what Prime Minister wants, doesn't want. Prime Minister is one thing. Leave Prime Minister out. I'm asking about the rest of the cabinet. Shows how incompetent you are as an opposition. Now, consider that this was a Congress minister would have said "Ghanta." What would have happened? So you see, you have to bear in the 40 degrees or 42 degrees, get the dandas, get the shots. That's when you become the opposition, the alternative. You can't just be an alternative by being at home. Now you may answer, look at what happened with Vijay. Because Vijay was not part of the system. Why is there anger against the CGI? Because he's seen as part of that system. That system where you are arrogant, where you look down upon others, where power entitles you. People today are against entitlement. And the opposition also is entitled. Therefore, there is not that connect with the opposition. No other government has given as many reasons to the opposition to get it on the mat as this government. But this opposition isn't able to get the government on the mat because they always end up picking the wrong issues. The issues of this country is not Ambani, Adani, is not whether the lion on top of the parliament is growling or smiling, is particularly these issues which are not able to ground the government on. That is it. It is as simple as that. And to ground it, you got to work hard. You got to get your facts correct. You got to research. And apart from being critical, you got to give an alternative vision, which this opposition just doesn't give. Therein is the problem, and therefore the attraction to 18 year olds. So you got attracted to Vijay. I do disagree with Abhijeet on the Nepal-Bangladesh comparison. Not Bangladesh, because they also elected a Nepo kid. But Nepal, Sri Lanka, the party that's elected there was relatively an old party, a relatively small party, not too much in mainstream. If you go back to the Iran protests before the war, what were people shouting? What were people protesting? They were saying to the IRGC, your kids in Canada, our kids in jail. So there is a movement against entitlement that they want something new in the system. However, the opposition isn't giving it because you say, okay, Dharmendra Pradhan's a Nepo kid. He's terrible. He's done all of this. He's continuously failing. And then you look at the opposition and you say there's more entitlement there. And even today, the BJP is saved by Prime Minister Modi's effort. It's only Prime Minister Modi. Remove Prime Minister Modi and the BJP collapses. It's worse than the UPA. But I want to take on something Nirwa said. You know, I honestly am saying this. I'm not saying this because she's here or anything. I'll tell you what actual Godi media is. I faced it. Not all of this. Actual Godi media is what I saw in Maharashtra during the corporation elections. Bro, I'm fucking telling you. The way media was sucking up to those, to Aditya Thackeray and Raj Thackeray's son, Amit Thackeray. I have never seen this in my life. You hate BJP? Great. Throw BJP out. I don't like BJP. But I am talking about Congress. Can you give me space who's talking logic, talking nice? But just because you believe these two Thackeray Nepo kids could throw out BJP, you gave them space and they were talking rubbish. Amit Thackeray, I don't know what substance he was on, with respect. The guy was talking about something else, and the space, like the topmost media interviewing him and not stopping him in a corporation election. The guy says, if my dad becomes chief minister, I'll stop trains from coming into Maharashtra. And the journalist didn't stop the guy. They bro, like, are you okay? This is a corporation election. You lost state elections. That's how lost he was. Now, when you see this entitlement, when you see these guys going to, and I live a life of comfort, as Abhijeet tells you. I'm most of the time having coffee with him at the most amazing places he treats me to. But when you see these kids suddenly at these 5-star hotels and then trying to, it's like Stalin's son suddenly coming up and talking about Hindutva being termites and all of that, and then going back to his Nepo life, life of luxury, life in a palace. People don't connect. They get irritated. It's not that they aren't issues that you want to deal with. They don't see these kids as solutions to those problems. And the entitlement is what has led Gen Z to trying to find something new. They had some hope in Arvind Kejriwalji, which they lost. Having said that, one last thing, I want to give credit to these guys who've come down, Abhijeet and Saurav and all. The fact is, look, it takes a lot of balls to do it. It is good to do it. Even if 1,000 came, at least they did it. And it's fine. They're a democracy. We can mock them. We can laugh them. Yeah, utro hai na zameen pe. Ab bhi utro. There's nothing wrong in it. Maybe they got 1,000 people. Maybe they got 2,000. Yeah, at least they had the balls to do it. Somebody had to do it. This should have been done by the opposition. Yaar, un bachon ne kiya. Theek hai, kiya na. What is wrong in it? That's what makes this country so great. That's what makes it so spectacular. That, yeah, you want to do it, you do it. What is wrong in it? So I think I celebrate them. It's okay. Whatever happened, they expected 1 million, turned out to be 2,000. All those are fine. But yeah, उतरे ना जमीन पर. आप उतरते हो क्या जमीन पर?
Abhijeet, this brings me to the fundamental question, which is that the opposition of India is a flop show, and it has a huge disconnect when it comes to the real political issues the country or the young people are facing. Now, given that political vacuum in the country, there is a lot of scope for movements to take place and anger to be channelized in a wrong way. Number one. Number two is, do you think that the 2029 elections that the BJP is going to fight, it is actually going to be the BJP versus the deep state instead of the political parties of India? Where do you see this going from here on?
No, I don't think it'll ever be the BJP versus the deep state. It's always going to be the BJP versus the opposition. Because I can honestly tell you, I have a feeling the first prayer Modi does when he enters his puja room is for the long health and life of Rahul Gandhi. And second for Arvind Kejriwal. And I'm sure right now he is also praying for my half brother, the Honorable Shri Abhijeet Dipkeji. He is truly blessed. I think he is Yug Purush because, and I know Rama has personally, राम जी का हाथ उन पे है क्योंकि भाई अगर दुश्मन दें तो ऐसा दुश्मन दें. I pray for enemies like this. There is this saying, जब खुदा देता है तो छप्पड़ फाड़ के देता है. I am looking at the field and there is not one person. See, you have to understand, Modi is a shark. He never sleeps. A shark cannot sleep. It has to keep swimming, otherwise it sinks. It has to keep moving. And then you have on the other side an accidental politician who has to take off in the middle of a parliament session to go to Colombia and do videos on coffee making, and Germany and do videos on BMW motorcycles. When somebody is talking about something serious, he comes and talks about escape velocity of Jupiter, making potatoes into gold, India as a union of states. Tell me something. When somebody is doing, and the thing is, sometimes he gets it right. For example, the way he got this exam thing right, he got onto a pulse. He should have just kept hammering on that subject. What did he do? He saw a temporary blip in viewership and he decided to put his own personal agenda over everything. You can't do that. Your agenda, see, it is a marketplace of ideas. What is politics? It's a marketplace of ideas. You can't expect the market to adapt to you. You have to adapt to the market. Okay. He doesn't do that. So there is this thing where it will continue to be the opposition. And unfortunately, whether we like it or not, India deserves a better opposition than this. India is not getting the opposition it deserves. Do I think the government has become very, very lax and taking it too easy? Look, they took it too easy in 2024. They're never going to do that again. It was a very near miss. Odisha was the state that came and saved them essentially, right? But this government could be so much more if you had a good full-time opposition. Not MPs who run off to London, leader of the opposition who runs off to Germany. ऐसा नहीं चलेगा, boss. You need a full-time opposition that is focused here. And I'm sorry to say this. If we ever think somebody who is English speaking, has a foreign degree, and was born with a silver spoon in their mouth, is going to understand the people better than somebody who sold tea at a railway station, I think you really need a reality check, bro. You really need a reality check. This man understands the pulse of India. And to end up, just a quick point. He's very smart. You asked me this question. We see a lot of things going wrong. The thing is, things do not go wrong all at the same time. understand what happened with the Congress. It was not one corruption scandal, it was 3, 4, 5 corruption scandals all piled up at the same time. And then the Nirbhaya rape, which happened at the same time. It was the cumulative effect of everything. And it was Indira Gandhi who, after she won the election back in 1980 after the emergency, and I think it was Lee Kuan Yew who was visiting for the Republic Day parade or something like that. And he asked him, so what went wrong? And her answer to Lee Kuan Yew was, we upset all the people at the same time.
Yeah.
You never upset everyone at the same time. You upset sequentially, one by one, and you win them back on something else.
Tehseen, we keep hearing that.
He never does that. See, you whatever you say about Modi, he is nobody's fool. One mistake made, that mistake will never be repeated again. But Priyanka Gandhi is like that. She never makes a mistake again. Have you noticed that? When she gave that speech in the winter session of Parliament, I think it was, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister appreciated it. The problem with Rahul is he never understands. If you try to correct him, you're an idiot.
Yeah, but you need to, for that, you need to accept your mistake. He never accepts his mistake. That is the prime problem with that man.
Problem with narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder is the one disorder that is impossible to cure. Even medication can't cure it because you are not in depression. Depression is a medical condition that can be cured. A narcissist is never in depression. And the problem is, how do you make them doubt themselves when they're so sure of all the answers?
Right. Tehseen, we hearing that
disorder that has no known cure.
Coming back to Tehseen. Tehseen, we hear about full-time opposition. Where is this full-time opposition party in India going to emerge, and when is it going to emerge? Are we going to see some change into this, opposition of India, where they at least would be somewhat responsible for people and people's grievance and addressing them?
See, what is an opposition? One is you oppose what the government says without looking like opposing the country. So you've had people in opposition, be it Rajiv Gandhi ji, be it Atal ji, etc. And they've been fierce oppositions, but it never looked like they're opposing the country. They may have opposed ideas of the government, which is fine, which is what India is all about. But the second part is, what is your alternative vision? And I always give this example, and I'll give it again. Imagine two restaurants on the opposite sides of the street. One restaurant's called BJP, one restaurant's called Congress. Now, the BJP restaurant has a buffet. You know the head chef is Narendra Modi. You know the sous chefs are Amit Shah, Ajit Doval, Nirmala Sitaraman, Nitin Gadkari, so on and so forth. Fourth, you may not like Nitin Gadkari's dish, but you love Amit Shah's dish. You don't like Nirmala Sitaraman's dish, but you like Jay Shankar's dish. All right, you have a choice and you know what you're going to get, period. On the other hand is a Congress restaurant. All the restaurant is saying is BJP restaurant is bad, which I agree. I don't like that restaurant. I think it's pathetic. But you aren't telling me whether you have a buffet or an a la carte. You're not telling me who's your head chef. You're not telling me who your sous chefs are. How do I come and choose? I don't even know what your cuisines are. Simply saying, I'm hungry, right? So there are many fence sitters like me. Now, I am pro-BJP, but many fence sitters. Now, I think the Congress and the opposition should understand that a lot of people who voted for the Congress in 2009 are today voting for BJP. Not all of them are Sanghis. When we abuse people, when we call them Rakshas, when we call them Sanghis, we are insulting them. People vote for different reasons. They may have voted for hope in Modi ji, they may have voted for nationalism, they may have voted for economic reasons, etc., etc., etc. You got to get them back onto your side of the fence. Everybody who's voting BJP is not communal. How are the same people who are voting for the Congress in Madhya Pradesh and making the Congress win in 2018, voting for the BJP in 2019? It's the same set of people. Suddenly they didn't become communal. Aise to nahi hota. So we have to start respecting people. Abhijeet says this very beautifully. He says people don't vote for a linear reason. They vote for multiple reasons. Sometimes a combination of multiple reasons that they vote for. And therefore, you must understand, just as the government pisses off some people sometime and not all the people all the time, we have to make all the people happy all the time by trying and giving them what they want, what they're not getting from the government. That is it. It's as simple as that. But for that, again, you got to be amongst the people. You need to understand the issues. You need to raise their issues. The issues of this country, as Priyanka Gandhi said, is not Nehru, what Nehru did or didn't do. We can go back into history, is what's happening today. The answer for this government after every 12 years can't be this is what Manmohan Singh did. You have to be accountable now. That period of honeymooning is over. So you got to hold them accountable. But that's how it is. If you keep abusing the prime minister, and I keep saying this, you're losing points because then people end up thinking, yaar, ye to sahi nahi hai. And ultimately, without a credible answer to how you make people's lives better, you will never come into government. Ultimately, 99% of the things people want are the same: a better quality life, better future for their children, a better healthcare for their family, clean environment. 99% things are the same. 1% can be you don't want UCC, I want UCC. You don't want Hindu Muslim, I want Hindu Muslim. You don't want caste, I want caste, whatever. That is 1 or 2% or 3% of the differences. You want to wear a hijab, I don't want to wear a hijab. It's 1, 2, 3, 5%. 90% हिंदू को भी भूख लगता है, मुसलमान को भी लगता है, ब्राह्मण को भी अच्छी जिंदगी चाहिए, दलित को भी चाहिए. It's same. Why don't we concentrate on the 90% and tell them how we'll make their life better? Tell me, in which other country is kids in the capital being born with a heart condition and asthma as soon as they're born, and the opposition hasn't capitalized? Which other country? I mean, these are issues the government's given you on a platter. Just take them. But they don't want to do it. That's the problem.
Nirwa, a lot of social media noise today on the protest saying that a lot of people were unaligned people.
Raja, before Nirva,
yeah.
can I just point out something very quickly?
Sure, please go ahead.
The person who did this very well was Sonia Gandhi after 1999 election. What she did was she realized she didn't have the attacking strength, so she just sat back and let the BJP hang itself with its own this thing. She was such a cooperative opposition. I don't think we've ever seen better cooperation between opposition and government in that period from 1999 to 2004. And where did the BJP end up in 2004?
So what are you
Including
saying? Are you saying
parliament
they
attacks.
should- so you're saying the opposition should just back off and just sit silently for the BJP to collapse on its own? Is that what you're saying?
Know how to attack, then do nothing. If you don't have a plan, then do nothing.
But
and Sonia was very smart. And here is the problem: Rahul doesn't even learn from his own mother. यार जब तुम्हारी माँ तुमको एक सबक नहीं सिखा सकती है, तो कौन सिखाएगा भाई तेरे को?
Yeah, but Abhijeet, no, but Abhijeet, 1999's BJP under Atal Bihari Vajpayee is very, very different than the BJP which we're seeing under Prime Minister Modi. We have to be very careful of that as well.
No, Raja, I disagree.
All governments will make mistakes. Okay,
that's the nature of every government.
No. It is not. The linearity is the same. All governments are human. All humans will make mistakes. The question is, what is the strategy you adopt to either magnify those mistakes? Now, if you can't magnify the mistakes, how do you remove your own negatives? If you have nothing good to say, to muh hi mat kholo.
But Abhijeet, then the point is that if you still want to hang on to Congress, then what happens to your Congress caucus in Nirwa?
I'm interested in listening to you. Tum batao.
Me. So Nirwa, this whole unaligned people being at the protest, how do you see that? And you know what Abhijeet just said. Basically, you know, I disagree with that because I believe that the opposition parties have got into a complacency, and it also needs to be changed and needs to be infused with newer people, with newer ideas and fresh ideas. Just Rahul sitting back is not going to do the job. I think there has to be a different opposition, and people have to look away from Congress and others and look at serious political players who can actually lead the country in future. That's what my take is. But then it's all about you. It's not about my take. Nirwa, how do you see that?
See, I think the BJP of 1999 was different than the BJP of now. Vajpayee's government was fantastic. He was a very, despite the opposition that we had, the Pokhran, that we became a nuclear powered nation. So see, those great things were done, but 25 years have passed since then. It's a generation leap has happened. The country has progressed, the world has progressed. So I think the opposition should be better. I think as a democracy, we deserve better opposition, which keeps the government on its toes, which keeps the government accountable also, because only then the country will progress, right? If the government is also almost as strong as an opposition, बट यहाँ पे तो ऑपोजिशन का पता नहीं क्या ही अपना वो चल रहा है. They don't seem to be in a mood to work for the nation. They seem to be in the mood to work for themselves, which is where things are not looking that great. About the non-aligned protesters that you're asking, see, I think there's this thing called the O'Sullivan's law. Okay, any protest, any organization which is not right wing explicitly, it is left wing. So all these protesters who are saying or claiming to be apolitical, they will be leftist at the end of it. They would have left-leaning views, left-leaning ideology. They would also be, oh, I'm not Hindu, oh, I'm not this, I'm not religious. All this will eventually happen. So apolitical कुछ नहीं होता. Either you are left-leaning, right-leaning, centrist, जो भी है, but you are political. Today's day and age, you can't even afford to be apolitical because everything you do now is political. Stepping out on the road is political. Everything will lead you to politics about it. You hiring someone, तुम कैब बुक कर रहे हो, कौन आ रहा है तुम्हें पिक करना, that's political. कैब के ड्राइवर के कन्वर्सेशंस पॉलिटिकल हो रहे हैं. सो टू क्लेम टू से दैट एपॉलिटिकल कुछ नहीं, हम लोग एपॉलिटिकल है, हम सिर्फ स्टूडेंट्स के लिए आए हैं, यू आर लाइंग. Also another very interesting thing, all these protesters, I think we also deserve better set of protesters. Constitution हाथ में लेके घूमना बंद करो प्लीज.
Then it's a diary.
It wasn't even the constitution. It was
a
somebody.
diary.
It was a diary. That was
अरे
what
अभिजीत
they
दीप के
wrote
योर हाफ ब्रदर एयरपोर्ट से निकलता है, खाली है क्या तहसीन ये?
नहीं मेरा पूरा भरा हुआ है, क्या कर रहे हैं, ऐसे मत करो.
Yeah, he's carrying the proper
constitution.
No, but I think, see, constitution is a living document. It will be amended time to time. This whole that constitution बदल रहे हैं, अरे तो बदलेंगे यार. ऐसा थोड़ी है कि पहली बार बदल रहे, हर सरकार बदलती है. इंदिरा गांधी द ग्रेट बदल दी है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का प्रीएम्बल. तो आई थिंक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को लेके ये जो प्रोटेस्ट करना है ना, थोड़ा लो आईक्यू लेवल बिहेवियर लगता है मुझे. थिंक बेटर. इंडिया डिजर्व्स बेटर ऑफ एवरीथिंग इंक्लूडिंग प्रोटेस्टर्स.
So Abhijeet, what will make you vote for the Cockroach Janata Party?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
No, I used to be quite happy voting for the Congress back in the days when, the Congress hadn't gone so loony left. It was still a big tent party. Like, who introduced economic reforms in this country, boss? It was Narasimha Rao.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest prime minister we've had. Who imagine, see, other prime ministers may have achieved more, but they achieved it with majority governments. Narasimha Rao was the only one who achieved that scale and volume with a minority government, which makes his achievement so much greater.
Yeah.
Okay. That was Congress. Congress did a lot of economic reforms even after that. In UPA 1, they did a lot of reforms. Fairly good reforms also. So, till UPA 1, I had no issues. Even with Sonia Gandhi, Manmohan Singh, I've never had issues. In fact, I deliberately voted against the BJP as an anger vote in 2009 because of their opposition to the nuclear deal. Because anyone who knew nuclear knew this was it was an insanely good deal. We didn't even think it was possible. And the negotiation was superb.
Yeah.
It's fine that the person who drove the BJP's opposition to it was Yashwant Sinha, who's no longer part of that party anymore. He's gone to some other party. I don't know which party it is, but whatever. But I would have happily, look, as long as the Congress was happy to move this way, hadn't gone this far berserk. It's literally gone berserk. And I think it's not gone berserk by itself. Modi is so smart, he's pushed it out there. Because see, if this is the center, if my nose is the center, and this is my right, I don't know what perspective you're seeing, but this is my right and this is my left. See, the BJP was somewhere here, the Congress was somewhere here. So see, there was always that overlap in which I could vote for them, for the Congress also. The problem now is the BJP is all the way from here to here. And the Congress is now here. And it is competing with everybody. There is no difference left between the CPIM and the Congress and anarchists anymore. Anarchists and nihilists. Right? So unless you have somebody, and there is no competition to the BJP, because BJP literally is sitting from here to here. Biggest chunk with zero competition. Nobody is vying for that space. And the only way you can outflank it is pushing back this way or outflanking it from here, from the extreme right. Otherwise, it's
Tehseen,
not
that brings me to the last and the ending question. Where do you see the road from here for Indian politics, especially the Congress? Do you think they will be able to realign themselves in time to give a fight to the BJP in 2022? 29, I'm sorry.
If it becomes the big tent party that Abhijeet spoke about, it has space for everybody and not the left loony. See, what happens is, forget the Congress for a second. Look at the kind of clowns. You have a Duggal Saab who one day is a RTI activist, one day he's a cephalologist, who Abhijeet always says gets even a closed clock, a shut clock, gets it right twice a day. One day is a climate activist, one day is a farmer Neta, one day is a Gen Z Yuva leader. One day he's saying tsunamis coming in Haryana. Then you have this one of a lawyer who's a product of nepotism. You see, when you have all these left loonies who come down in their Porsches and then they discuss poverty. Ram Guha the other day, and I said this sometimes now. Over there, burrata and they brie cheese, and over there they're discussing, oh my God, there was so much poverty in India. People fucking now take it for the joke. So honestly, these clowns have to go. I'm not making this up. What drove me away, because I did believe, and I do believe, that there must be welfareism and equality in the basics. I do believe that very firmly. But when I saw Prakash Karat one day traveling to a foreign destination in a business class, from the business class lounge, while a worker was pulling his bag and taking it, I realized all of this is bullshit. These guys just take money, spend it on their champagne, and want to sort of live a life of luxury. So all this Mercedes Marxism is not what India wants. Secondly, young India, everyone wants to be rich. So unless you don't get that in, you are screwed. Thirdly, nationalism is extremely strong in India. Whatever we are, what binds Nirwa and me? There's nothing common except one thread, that we are Indians. It's a thread I can't explain, but it joins us. I may disagree passionately with her, but I agree to the fact that she's an Indian. I will stand up for rights and she will stand up. It's something that Winston Churchill could not understand when he said India will break up, and yet UK broke out of the EU. In the Union of India is still strong. It's an invisible thread that has been there for centuries, from the time of thousands of years ago. We're not just a country. Geographically, we're a country now. We're a civilization. So it's a thread that holds us. It's also a thread that holds Iran, which is why it's difficult to bring a regime change. These old civilizations have a thread. You can't define it. It's not physical. So, you can't wish that away. You can't wish away other things. Once you realize that there is a chance of coming back, and please, I think Prime Minister Modi has gone so left now. Of course, the Congress has gone even lefter, that we need a centrist, economically right of the center, and socially left welfarist party that comes in, which is basically a centrist party that starts doing sensible politics. Imagine the Prime Minister rightly said there's a petrol shortage. Has one minister in the Prime Minister's office cut down his cars? Has one minister done anything? I mean, look at you have to see how left the BJP is gone, how socialist it's become. And therefore, there is a point for welfareism, not freebies like Ladki Behna, welfareism, and for economic prosperity. If you can get that right, you can throw the BJP out of power. I'm very clear of it.
Abhijeet, your last comments? Because I did see you raising that.
Sorry, Tehseen, what was that last? It was a segue from what you had said before welfareism.
No, there's an invisible thread that holds us together as Indians.
So this was the thing. There are 2 points I have to make. First, when Mao Zedong decided to attack India, they genuinely, all the documents of that period, they genuinely believed that one significant defeat. They came all the way into Assam and then they withdrew because they believed that they had crippled India and India would break up. And the exact opposite happened. The DMK till that time was actually advocating for a separate Tamil state. And they realized if they continued with that line, they were going to get wiped out in the election. So the DMK completely dropped separatism. My mom was telling me, how people in rural Tamil Nadu were literally plucking off and in those days, remember, we were very poor and your gold was your only savings and you wore it on you. You were your own bank. They would pluck off their earrings and their necklaces and just throw it in for the soldiers. It's a different matter. Krishna Menon embezzled most of it. That's a different thing. But itna patriotism nikal ke aaya tha at that time. People don't realize this. And this is why, when Rahul Gandhi questions the nationalism of India, when he says it's a union of states and things like that, he actually rubs people the wrong way. There is a fundamental sense of being Indian which no Indian disputes. Even, and you know this better than anybody else, Raja, in Kashmir, half the people we know that talk about separatism in public, in private you go talk to them, they'll be like, nahi, mere ko Pakistan nahi jana hai. Baki ke log ja sakte hain, sab chuga.
I would not go.
But I am not going to go there. But Hindustan Murdabad, Hindustan Murdabad. We've all seen that. I mean, we know this is what happens with all these so-called Hurriyat leaders, right? So this was the most important point. The second is a more frivolous point. You have a very nasty viewer called SSGB who has said Bocconcini is way better than burrata. I just want to condemn this statement very strongly. Bocconcini छोटा mozzarella होता है, burrata बहुत अच्छा होता है. तुम SSGB मुर्दाबाद, तुम गोदी मीडिया हो, तुम फैशिस्ट हो, टोटल निकलो इधर से, नॉनसेंस.
और फ्रूगल इंडियन हेटर हो.
हाँ, frugal Indian hater हो.
Okay, Nirwa, last comments to you. When Tehseen says PM has gone left, do you agree with that? And how do you see BJP going from here?
Economically.
When it comes to
I don't think so. I think, we are giving free grains to 80 crore people. So it would appear that the PM has gone left, but no, I think his heart is still on the economy. I think that is one of the core for being right, at least in the Indian context. So I would still feel that things are still on the right track. थोड़ा सोशलिज्म का एंड लेफ्ट का थोड़ा बहुत तो इफेक्ट रहेगा ही. यू कांट लिव इन अ साइलो. इंडिया इज अ कंट्री ऑफ 140 करोड़ पीपल, सो वो तो होना ही है. बट हैविंग सेड दैट, आई थिंक I just like to conclude on the Cockroach Janata Party protest. It is unfortunate that we forget that it all started with the remarks of the CJI.
Yeah.
And somehow the protest became about hating the BJP. मुद्दे से आप भटक कैसे जाते हो इतना ज्यादा? So it feels like a joke that they're reducing the next generation of voters. ठीक है, Gen Z, I don't want to hate on the Gen Z. हर generation next generation को hate करती है. They think the other generation is entitled. Having said that, I think Gen Z का आज के जो protest जो भी था, whatever happened in Jantar Mantar, the circus that happened, भाई, Gen Z should disconnect themselves from what happened there. इतना low IQ behavior, आप कुछ भी करके आ रहे हो. That spokesperson of their जनता पार्टी कॉकरोच वाला, उसको हीट गर्मी लग रही है, उसके पीछे एक बुजुर्ग आदमी खड़ा है, उसको पंखा दे रहा है, उसको नींबू पानी दिया जा रहा है. ऐसे करोगे क्रांति? और खुद को तो उस दिन भगत सिंह और वो सब के साथ कंपेयर कर रहे थे तुम लोग. तो इतने एंटाइटल्ड हो तुम. And you are the leaders of the Gen Z. This is how you will take the next generation forward. They're supposed to do hard work. They are supposed to be part of the nation building exercise. ये कौन सा nation building हो रहा है? इनको समझ ही नहीं है कि क्या कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे आके. So I feel that this is misleading a huge chunk of youth कि कुछ तो ground पे हो रहा है. अरे भाई क्या हो रहा है ground पे? This ground पे करना है तो maybe work hard, get your best education, get yourself a good job, contribute to the economy. ये क्या कर रहे हो तुम? So I think Gen Z को ये लोग ही बदनाम कर रहे हैं, and they should disconnect themselves from these stupid people and figure out a way to get things done instead. That's
I
it.
would give on the closing remarks, I would give Indian Gen Z far better respect by saying that they have been far better than what we have seen in Nepal and in Bangladesh, where the Gen Zs just fell a stool in front of, people who really wanted to exploit them. I think the Indian Gen Zs have shown some political maturity as well when it comes to this. With that, thank you, Tehseen.
One
Thank you,
last
Nirwa,
line.
and thank you. Yeah, please go
There's
ahead.
an
Please go ahead.
one last line. There's an Indian cheese called Brunost. It's like my
Yeah.
favorite cheese. I mean, it's mind blowing. Please eat it and stop being an elitist about the mozzarella cheese that you like.
I think,
अरे
I think there are,
अमूल processed cheese जिंदाबाद.
I still
Cockroach
would love
party
the I would like
जिंदाबाद
the paneer to go.
जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद राजा तुम आगे बढ़ो हम तुम्हारे साथ हैं
Thank you,
इनकलाब
Tehseen. Thank you
जिंदाबाद
so much. Thank you so much for tonight, and thank you for taking out the time.
Right.
Thank you, Nirva. Till next time, we'll
Thank
catch
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Bye bye. How do we end this?